Alrighty then, welcome everybody. Good greetings, good evening. Welcome to the stream for the finale, the race that we've all been waiting for the past few weeks, the finale of the Nations Cup here with the ASRF, the Asian Sim Racing Federation. Now, for those of you who are joining new in this series of races, what's been going on is we've been doing a bunch of qualifying races over the past few weeks. Well, last weekend in particular, where we did four different qualifying races spaced over 2 days last weekend to decide who will be the two representatives from India to take part in the finale this week for the Nations Cup Asia. And last week we had a bunch of races here, right here at Spa-Francorchamps again. And the two drivers who will be representing India, who are from IRE Sports, are Amar Nagdev and Siddharth Medratha. And we'll be seeing them on stream shortly. But before that, let me give you a small introduction to what the ASRF actually is. So, the ASRF is a group of organizations, sim racing organizations, how specifically in Asia have come together to form this sort of a mini nations cup just to get everyone involved in sim racing and to find out and just eke out the best of talents in the sim racing sphere that are present in Asia. Some of the organizations include BB Race from Korea, Adrenaline Impact from Malaysia. We here at IR Esports are from India. Then Kart Camp from China. We have some racing from Vietnam, and then also EPP and Godspeed from Hong Kong. So these are just some of the organizations who are a part of this, who are a part of this massive venture where we have multiple contestants and participants from different countries all coming together and battling it out to basically claim utter dominance. That's not what you want to see as utter dominance on screen, but yeah, getting back to the point. So all these drivers just kind of battling out to see who it is that's going to be taking the cup at the end of today. We have two races coming up, but before we get into that, we just give a quick shout out to the sponsors for this race, the prizes for this race. So the winners, the top three, especially in today's race, will be getting basically sim racing rigs sponsored by Next Level Racing. First place will be a GT track, the second place will be an FGT light, and third place will get a GT light. Also, there is a bonus prize for all the other participants who are not here today as well. There are participants who battled out from different countries in the qualifiers that each of these organizations conducted individually. There is a fourth prize up for grabs. It is another GT light, which will be selected as a lucky draw. So yeah, a lot of stuff to play out, a lot of things to fight for, a lot of prizes to play for. Quick overview of Next Level Racing. So they are mainly involved in creating sim rigs. They continue to lead the market with innovative designs and technology in the sim rig development sphere. They have a strong presence and partners in the global gaming industry as well, and one of them includes a PlayStation, and there's also a lot of other global sales partners like Thrustmasters involved in this as well. So yeah, they are a big part of the sim racing sphere and sim racing and sim rig development. On that note, let's just have a quick overview of the sponsors with this short video, and we'll be back very soon. Oh yeah, that's what we're talking about. That is exactly what drivers want to be fighting for, a chance to get one of those exciting prizes, to immerse themselves in what is already an exciting simulation of its own. On that note, let's dive in straight into qualifying. My name is Saidat Ramesh. We've got Feroz and Gaurav in the race director seat who will be taking care of all these camera angles and bringing all this action to you. With me, I have Solomon on board, and we will be bringing all this action to life, and we'd like to invite you to join us on board as we immerse ourselves in this exciting qualifying session. On that note, let's dive right into the conversation. Solomon, what better place to have a finale than the beautiful, picturesque location of Spa-Francorchamps in the Ardennes forest?
Saida, hi and welcome. What a time for us to actually get down to the epitome of all the racing action. Did we not forget that the last time they had a washout? Thankfully, there's going to be no washout today because we're going to be seeing these GP cars on the limit. So that's something which you and I are going to be talk a lot about it. Which is your favorite corner? Or am I already seeing one already?
Yeah, I think arguably this is one of the most favorite corners of everybody in sim racing and real world racing. Like that is the top of Oruge and Radion, by the way, and that is a very interesting corner. Now that we're talking about Oruge and Radion, that actually climbs up to 134 feet from the base. So that's literally just going up about a 12-story building, so to speak, in a matter of seconds. So yeah, definitely very exciting to see GT3 cars going through that sort of a section.
Maybe we should possibly show Esteban Ocon how to do it. Okay, jokes apart, before we get sued a
Yeah.
little bit later. But just one thing to talk about, the fact of the Oruge is that the moment you touch that corner, move down to the Camel Straight, and then you have these turn number 7, 8, and 9. It's like three corners bunched up together. You really got to keep your banking straight. Now, I will let you talk about the cars here.
Yep, absolutely. These cars, particularly, are obviously definitely aero dependent. You see those big wings over there, the rear wings on all these cars. So definitely they do depend a lot on aerodynamics, but not as much as the Formula One cars, which we unfortunately did not get to see going at their absolute limits this time last week. But these cars actually depend a lot on mechanical grip as well, and that's where they really need to focus on, especially in these tight sections. So the faster corners, of course, they're able to take flat out, but it's for example the sort of corner that's going to be coming up right now shortly as Siddharth just makes his way around up to that corner. So that is going to be the bus stop chicane, and you can just see the way he takes this corner. And when we watch it, you see that he has to go quite wide onto the left side, and you just see him brake right after that banner, and then you can see the way this car, especially that BMW, how it rides the curbs. So this is technically what these cars are made for. They need to really go and attack these curbs so that they can gain as much time as they can while battling it out on track. Now these cars are GT3, of course. The GT3 spec is basically a maxed out sports car version. So they have their own base level sports car. For example, that you see there is a Lamborghini Huracan. So Lamborghini Huracan GT3 is actually maxed out about 550 horsepower. That's sort of a power range, and that's what makes these cars so unique. You take one of these high production, really fast sports cars as they are, just add wings, amp up all the safety, add performance parts, increase the power, and you've got this super high performance race cars you see on screen.
When you're looking at Leonard's car, he was somewhere at number 9 and now he jumps up to number 3. So Siddharth
Yeah.
was outside the top 13. So let's just quickly look at the timings 2:18:370 to 18:660. We're talking about two folks who've already broken under 2.19. So can we have Jane, we have Mitchell, Dominic, all out on laps at this point of time. Everybody trying to get their timings in very quickly because if you really run short of time here, 8 minutes 18 on the clock. We still have a little over 12. There is still very early days.
Definitely. I think this is when everyone would really want to be getting out there. I'm quite sure most of the competition, if not all of them, have put in their banker laps right now, just gotten a basic time on board. The fastest time up till now, of course, is still a 2 minute 18.370. I'm expecting that time to start dropping soon because this is technically what they'll be doing in race pace. So everyone's just trying to wait for the track to rubber in. I believe the track has started off with a 30% track state, which is nowhere near rubbered enough for them to push it to the limit just yet. So you see that Porsche just kind of pitching all over the place. It's one of the characteristics of the Porsche. We are on board with Joe Hook Im, who, by the way, was the winner. He was one of the fastest cars out there a couple of weeks ago for that exhibition race. So this is definitely a driver to look out for at the top. But I think at this point, anyone who's 219s or faster at this point in qualifying definitely has a very good chance of taking pole position.
Sachai Natakunjung, for all the way down from Thailand, is now at number 2. Would be looking to was at number 2 now on the pole position very quickly. So Leonard is trying to make sure that he'll be able to get his lap times a little bit earlier. Wow, look at the kind of countries they've come from: Malaysia, China, Reunion Island, Vietnam, Sri Lanka, Macau. We have somebody joining in from Brunei, Hong Kong as well. The Philippines, if I didn't mention that earlier. So we really have a quite a talented grid, and I almost forgot India. Yes, that way.
Yep. countries from all over Asia, from the east and west of India. There are just so many countries here, and just so much untapped potential and talent, which we rarely get to see, especially in global levels, or even in the purely European sense. There aren't a lot of Asian drivers in that segment right now, even in the European specific leagues. So this just shows you how many other countries are involved and who are part of this growing sphere, something that's definitely taken leaps and bounds, especially with the sort of unfortunate situation the world finds itself right now. Everyone's stuck indoors, and this is a great way to kind of find your racing talents all from the comfort of your desk.
Look at that corner. Look at that corner. Just let's look at that corner one more time. I can keep looking at it. You really got to know how where you want to bank it and when do you want to little twirl your car to your left and then try and get onto the camel straight. Yes, this is the slight, a very short home straight down there, and this is how you need to go as wide as possible. I sometimes get a feeling that maybe they should take a little leaner exit when they come down to the last corner, and then they may not go too wide because the bus stop chicane can be a little tricky. Take turn 19 a little tighter, and then go as wide as possible, turn number 20, so you carry as much speed. Notice this as they get onto that exit, they try and come close to the wall on the left, maybe to try and get a little bit of combustion there, and maybe a little bit of draft. I'm not sure how that's working, but for the moment, Mika is still at number 11.
Yep, Mika Hakimi, another driver which we saw driving quite fast, very competitive, of course, in that previous exhibition race from last week. We see him on screen, getting a bit of a fishtail out of that corner. You've got to be very careful, especially out of that sequence through Stavelot up through Paul Frere, because those curbs are some of the characteristic killer curves, so to speak, in Spa. You get your car unsettled there, and it's basically at least 30 kilometers per hour of speed loss at the end of this long straight as he goes through Blanchimont. Let's see what he can do. He's just coming across the line right now. We did see him, he's just coming up the bus stop, sorry. We did see him lose a bit of time over there. I don't think he's going to be improving it this time by maybe he can get the draft from the car up ahead. Let's just see what he can do next time around.
We have three folks who have already gone under 2 minute 19. So we have 2 minute 18.366, 2 minute 18.370. We're talking about less than what, 4 thousandths of a second between the top two. Now that is real close. How close? You can't get closer than this. Then we have Jason Lee going down 2 minutes 18.773, is about 3 tenths slower than the top two. Dominic moves into turn position number 4. Nicholas jumps in at number 5. Mika all of a sudden with a better lap till this time around moves into position number 6. There is a lot of change up the table order. It's still not over till we finally blow the bugle at 20 minutes.
Look at that. P4 all the way down to P16. So that is 13 drivers all within a second. So this is extremely close, especially for a GT3 car. So if you compare something like, if you look at something like an F1 car, that is a big gap. But considering how much slower these cars are and how big the circuit is, that is a very competitive gap. You're going to see a lot of overtakes, especially down the Kemmel Straight. And on that note, let's just dive a little bit into the particular nature of these cars. So the reason why you see different cars all performing differently, different parts of the section is because each car has a different balance to another. For example, you see the Porsche on screen right now, an extremely twitchy car, can be quite fast, quite ferocious in its speed if you get it right. But if you get it wrong, it's just going to fishtail out of every corner and cost you a couple of tenths every single time you cross a curve. So these are just some of the technicalities of this car. But I think driven by the Thai driver behind that wheel, he is managing to really hold it at its limit. And let's see, I believe it is his outlap as it shows on the leaderboard. So once he starts his flying lap, let's see if he can challenge Im, who by the way has taken pole position again right now. Let's see some of the other drivers. So Hakimi has dropped down a spot. You see quite a few other competitive names out there. We'll get into some
You're
of the
right.
details of these drivers
You're
today.
right, absolutely. Because when Siddharth came onto the track, he was like P5, and he possibly thought that he's possibly done enough. And
Yeah.
then now he looks like, hey, where did I lose 6 places? Now it's going to get really competitive. So we were talking about 4 thousandths of a second difference between the top two,
Yep.
and Jason Lee is still into 18.773. Thank you very very much. I was asking for this. Can we get the drivers on board view? Let's go for it. Let's go. This is going to be really exciting. Go for it, Sai. as we
Yeah.
get onto the corner
So
number
we
one.
get heavy into turn number one, last source. Just want to clip that curve. Don't want to take too much over there. If we go too wide, I think that's what he's done this time. Why Matt has gone wide, but he has to now get back up to speed, stick close to that wall, just get a bit of aerodynamic advantage as you gear up for this corner. You go through Eau Rouge, don't want to take the curve too much. He takes it quite well, maybe a bit of a fishtail on top as you get on top of Radion, but he keeps it on track and prevents any sort of invalidation. Now you get down the Kennel Straight. This is the popular DRS zone in Formula One. These cars don't have DRS, but they have a lot of horsepower up for grabs at their disposal. Get heavy on the brakes and let go right now at the end of the straight. Be again extremely careful on these curves. You want to stick on the middle of the track, get back on the left, and cut back on the second part of this section. Get down into this tiny mini straight as you go down into the Brussels hairpin. One of the slower corners, but not quite the easiest one. You see how off cambered it is. You're just gonna have to ride it out and fight the car. Don't tempt fate. Don't click the throttle. Go through no name corner again. Another interesting corner, quite fast, quite straightforward to take. And then you go to the fastest, one of the faster aerodynamic corners. This is Wuhan. Take the inside curve, go through third gear, go up to fourth, get on power as you get on the curve over here up to fifth, and now get ready for another braking zone. This is the Campos complex. Go through into third gear, stick into the middle of the road, don't go too wide. Again, you need to take the inside line over here, and then you can use that ASRF on the right side, that green patch, to get some extra grip. Go through the final set of corners. This is Stavolo back on the AstroTurf. Don't take too much though. If you abuse the track limits, you get an invalidation. Go through Paul Freire as you get back up to speed up the hill. And now it's just about riding it out. It's just about praying that you got the best amount of speed out of that corner, because you need to now fly down, maximize your speed as you get ready for Blanchemont, another high downforce corner. Clip the curve, not too much though. Don't go too wide. I think this Porsche is very well balanced over there. No understeer or oversteer. And now you get ready to take well, it looks like he has slowed down, so perhaps he does not want to complete this lap at that speed. But this is the final corner. You have to brake super early, ride the camber of the track as you get back on power, and I think he's going to gear up for another flying lap right now.
Fabulous stuff there. But I was just quickly thinking, if you notice in Bruxelles corner,
Yep.
the car literally stopped. He literally had to get onto an upshift to try and make that car moving up. So
Yep.
Bruxelles corner and the bus stop corner can really be very, very tricky. I also felt that somewhere down in Blackmore, he he could have stayed to the little bit of the center, maybe trying to go a little wide into the chicane there. We will just keep coming in as Dominic moves up to position number four. Leonardo, who had P3 now, provisional, is now at P5. Changes down the order. Siddharth not really looking great for him because he was 5 to 11 and now 13.
Yeah, very interesting. It looks like many different countries are up there in the top 20. Another driver which I've been looking out for, Aman Nagde from IR Esports as well, the Indian driver. Not sure, he's just about managed to put his time right now. That is a 2:20.135. So I'm not sure if he's been waiting in the pits, but he has a lot of power to use in that Mercedes. You see him powering down the straight. So this is where you can really gain a lot of time. Not quite sure what his lap time is right now, but he definitely is on his flying lap. Let's see if he can improve it. We see Siddharth just about 4 places ahead of him. So both these drivers have quite a lot of ground to make up, because it looks like pole position is a good 1.5 seconds from Siddharth right now.
Right, we got less than a minute, over a minute if I can stand corrected. So we have five, not one, but five drivers who were already clocked in under 2 minutes 19. They're trying to bank in on the corners right down as well. They're trying to stay close to the car ahead of them. They're possibly trying to get a little bit of toe. Any one of them, 2 minutes 18.366. Is there going to be any changes? Aman Nagdev slots himself to position number 19 at the moment. Anybody else is going to be looking down at on your screen? Kenny is still 2 minutes 16. He is somewhere on position number 21. Can he go one better? No, he doesn't. We have Mr. Chaidak. Well, it's going to be it's a rush hour traffic round here with about 30 seconds to go. We're still looking down at
Oh, there's traffic for Aman, and that goes wrong for him. Oh no, he's lost out big time in quali from that collision right now. It's just such a tight section over there. You make one mistake and you cause this traffic jam. It's a good thing that didn't happen in the race. Let's hope it doesn't. But that's completely shattered Aman Nagdev's chances right now to get any faster on his time. He's just gonna have to hope nobody else jumps him in this qualifying. But yeah, he's lost out big time. He has a lot of ground to make up in the first race, but they're still not all. He hasn't lost out everything. We do have a 15-minute sprint race and then a 40-minute endurance race right after that, the feature race, where coincidentally the top eight from the first race will be reversed on the grid.
There we have it. I mean, Aman Nagdev, I thought he would at least jump about 4 or 5 places, but that just didn't happen. Not the time that he was really looking at. It just so happened that he really had to pull back in. Right then, all set for the grid here, and we just got to wait it out. Remember, it's going to be a 40-minute gridder after that.
And as you say that, I just noticed something. Look at the gap between the first two drivers. 3 thousandths of a second. That's just like a few inches with these cars. So that's going to be extremely exciting to watch. I think the driver that gets the jump on the start, the one that gets the better line into turn one, is going to run away with it.
I will. Let's quickly run them to the list. I hope it stays for a bit. So one, we have James Sargent at number two, Jake Conley at number three, Dominic Ing at number four, Luna Lopes at number five. I was pretty surprised with Mika. I thought he could do into number four, at least in the top five. As you rightly said, he
Yep.
kind of slowed out in the bus stop corner. Didn't have as much access on Air Rouge as well. A lot of little mistakes can really make that out. So then cars are just about getting ready to line themselves on the grid.
Yep, just waiting for iRacing, the simulation, to get its sequence done. So quite a bit of code has to go in. Few things have to run in the background before all the cars are ready to get underway. But a very interesting list of drivers. I saw Avila Bahar as well over there. Another very fast driver from the GT World Asia series in esports. So we have drivers from different platforms, from Assetto Corsa, Competizione, from iRacing, from R Factor, everybody kind of coming on board into the current simulation iRacing to kind of test their skills. So let's just see what they can bring to the table. This is our starting grid right now, and I think we are all set to start. Okay, so there we go. We have the rolling start underway right now. It's not even half a formation lap. It's more like just a few corners of a formation lap. See everybody lining up over here, coming up to the bus stop chicane. Let's wait for it. Let's wait for that green light. It's going to happen perhaps in a few seconds now, about 10 seconds left.
Let's do it the real rumble, the NASCAR style. Okay, it's Lawrence out there.
There we go. We've got green flag conditions, and the pole sitter has already pulled away a good 3, 4 car lengths ahead of the Thai driver right behind him. He goes through that corner. Let's see if any moves are being made over here. Nothing as of now, nothing as of yet. You see wide variety of cars, Porsches, a BMW, or the Lamborghini right behind. So we have a nice variety of cars all the way out in front. No moves at the back either. No, we see Siddharth Medratha taking his BMW, challenging that Lamborghini at the base of Eau Rouge. Oh, and there's going to be a switch back over here. If any, the Lamborghini does get a bad exit. He did get compromised, and now Siddharth's got another BMW right behind him. Porsche making its move. Let's see what happens at the end of the Kemmel Straight.
I think he's got to get to the corner much earlier out. He should have stuck to that defensive line. The car spins around, not one, not two, but three of them. Will they be able to join back again? Now, there is almost a little bit of carnage at the end, but what a start it has been for the pole position.
Oh, and the car that's been trying to rejoin is again spun. I can see some massive wing damage, some more damage for the Porsche that spins out as well. I think all of that, Siddharth's been super lucky because that happened right behind him. If he was another car length behind, he would have been wrapped up in that incident. But he's now in 13th place. He's got a lot of ground to make up, but not quite as much as Aman, who I hope has not actually been involved. No, he's not. You can see the Mercedes over there. So this is what happened in the back. Looks like there was a bit of a collision with the two BMWs behind Siddharth, and we see another car completely upside down. I don't think he'll be getting much speed going that way.
Now,
But this is what happened to the French driver in that Porsche.
that's the way you should drift and go off-roading. I mean, if you want to take a different little off-roading lessons here. But Siddharth, I thought he held it well. but I
Yeah.
would have liked him to get a little more aggressive when he tried to defend. When you know you have to folks right behind you, close the line. That's what hard racing does to you. Let's get it down to the race leading right now. Leonardo Lopes now already up to position number 5. Dominic at number 4, trying to make a move ahead. But then the pole sitter, or should I say the leader right now, is really running away with this race now.
Yep, looks like that gap has slowly started building up. Interesting to see Aman jumping multiple positions. He's back. He's all the way up in 15th, so just a couple places behind Siddharth. Literally one car that separates them. So it looks like maybe these two drivers, if they get behind one another, I think they can start forming a bit of a drafting train and hunting down the rest of these cars. We've got a lot of traffic all the way up to P1. But I think everything's quite smooth now. Nothing's happened. After that Lecombe incident, everyone's just finding their pace. They don't have much time though. We're about 3 minutes in, just about 12 minutes left on the clock. So it's either going to be a 15 lap race or a 15-minute race or a 6 lap race, whichever one comes first. And all that process, let's see who comes out in first place at the end of the race. Do we see another move being made? No, that Lamborghini is getting mighty close to the BMW ahead. Let's see if anything happens through the next technical section of the track.
I was just looking at how Jeon Lieber was trying to get a move on, was just not able to close in, was not able to get that double drop that he was looking at. Now it's almost like a little bit of a somebody's got to give that little bluff. Just stay there right behind their tail, and just try and put that little bit of pressure. I was thinking maybe it's time that one of them, especially Mika or maybe Aman, should try and put a little pressure on the bus stop corner, because I think somewhere around the bus stop corner he gained a little bit of time there. So his braking is coming out well. I just hope he's able to take that on a little bit more.
Yep, it all depends, I believe, on the way the pressures have been set up for these cars because it's about time, about 2 laps in. This is when the pressures should start stabilizing. They're not quite up to temperature yet, but they are slowly getting into the performance zone. And I think some of these heavier cars will definitely find a lot easier to bring those temperatures up with the sort of loads coming on the tires. So I believe the BMWs and the Mercedes are in their prime position now to take advantage of the much lighter cars up ahead. I believe I saw McLaren over there. I'm not quite sure. It could either be a McLaren or a Ferrari. Right behind the BMW. Definitely doesn't have the straight line speed, but it does have an advantage here. Let's see if he can do anything. BMW is notoriously unstable on curves. The Ferrari, quite the opposite, is quite stable and very fast. I think I see a move being made over here that Ferrari just needs to time it perfectly. It's either going to be here at the end of Kemmel. Let's see what happens.
That was Avila Bahar all the way down from Indonesia, again on a BMW, looking for that little move on the inside, then find the space. We were discussing earlier, it's a very, very tight track, although fast, although on your face, almost like a roller coaster. But then you really got to get that little space back again. The famous corners just coming in one after the other. Now, this is about not one, but it's a seven-way fight. Seven-way fight for a position somewhere in the top 5. There we go.
Yep.
Onto the inside. Can he make it down the inside? They got to take a quick right-hander. They
Oh, there's
touched.
some contact. No, I think it's quite stable. No, Avila Bahar loses a bit of traction at the exit, and that's cost him 2 places and potentially one more. No, he swerves onto the right side just to defend his position. No damage or nothing serious to the tires. So it's just a few positions he's lost. Hopefully, there's no carbon fiber bits missing from that car.
So Parivat Chukon from Thailand takes advantage, not takes one position but two, moves out to position number 7. But Avila will lose at least about 2 positions as well. Nicholas now bring back the pressure on Avila at this point of time. Samuel also getting into the parting fight for the number 11. As we look at it, Nicholas is now making sure Avila doesn't breathe easy. How's that going to play out? 5 cars, make that 6 cars fighting for the position number 7.
Yep, 4 BMWs sandwiched by 2 extremely light cars, a Ferrari all the way out front and a Porsche right behind that train. But it looks like the BMWs are on a zone of their own. You just see the straight line performance over here. You can see that Porsche gradually just losing ground through the straight. So the Porsche is quite fast in the tight section, but it doesn't really have that much straight line performance. I think the only credit that that car really has on straight line is the fact that it is quite streamlined and quite tiny, so it doesn't have as much of a drag penalty. Uh, let's see if any more moves are being made. You've got to be very careful with these BMWs, extremely heavy cars. It's almost single file for sure through this corner. Nicholas just piling the pressure on Avila Bahar right in front, but he's got another BMW of Samuel Cheng right behind. So let's see what happens over here. I don't think any moves. Looks like the green BMW is trying to make a move. Porsche has a better entry to the corner. Nope, nothing happening this time. But in fact, the Porsche gets a bit tail happy on exit. It's going to cost him a couple of tenths by the end of the straight.
No space given, no space taken, and that's how tight these corners are. There's absolutely nothing much you can choose between them. Now, all of a sudden, one of them decides to take a little different line to try a little bit of pressure. There could be a possible overtaking maneuver again. One of the BMWs coming under a little bit of pressure. Samuel moves
Oh,
up.
what has happened? Yep. I see there's another move being made by the BMW, quite smoothly done. But what happened? The Porsche, it was almost as though he just completely stopped, got off the throttle. That's 2 seconds behind now to this BMW train. It's quickly turned into just a six-way battle right now.
I thought the guy braked a little earlier. He just braked too hard. It
Oh,
was
he's
more of a
lost a few.
drive.
He's lost another position. He's gone.
It looks like more of a driver error. He possibly didn't time that corner well, the way I see it down here. As we're now looking at Samuel now saying, okay, thank you very much. I move up to position number 10. Nicholas will have to make that fight back again into the top 10. Samuel
Yep.
Chiang all the way down. He knows he's got quite a fight in his hand. Samuel Chang, of course, from Macau, and he has been on sim racing and we just hooked onto it, and so do all of us. I must tell you, some of them do, among our folks who are riding the sim racing today, they do have also on real on track experience as well. So you have the sim and then you have the on track. You got to take it off from there.
Wide age range as well. You've got a lot of youngsters on the grid. I think one of the oldest drivers, I won't necessarily say old, but I'll say one of the more senior drivers on the grid. We've got Nicholas Fenert, who is 43 years old. So this is it's a global sport really in all aspects, both in terms of region and age. Age is only a number here. I think it's all about the skill, and you can do all of this from the comfort of your home. Your sim rig is your weapon of choice over here. Let's see if he gets a good exit over here. He does have the BMW to his advantage once again, but we shouldn't forget he's got three BMWs in front of him as well. So I don't know if that's an advantage for all of them, or more of a disadvantage for Nicholas stuck behind this train.
Well, you want to come into a sim racing to enjoy your race weekend, and you also want to make sure that there is some sort of a contest. Now, Nicholas would possibly look like if Fernando Alonso can drive at that age, I can drive the sim racing as well. So, no age brackets to be given. There is a very keen contest. One of the BMW cars is, you know what? Is it a BMW race here? Because
Yeah.
everywhere we see we see a BMW involved with every bit of action. We saw a BMW going off earlier, doing a little bit of drift, but this is really coming out alive. We are counting down. 10 minutes already up. We have less than 4 minutes to go. Come on, let's bring in some action in the front. Sorry, nothing can happen in the front because we already got 1.3 second lead for the race leader.
Speaking of a BMW race at the back, that may be the case, but it looks more like a Porsche race all the way out in front. Three Porsches leading this entire pack, and the gap is not that big, especially between third and fourth. But it looks like the leaders, first and second, have started building a gap. But it's good to see that the Thai driver in P2 is right behind him. He's just holding that same gap. So yeah, it just almost feels like the one who got the jump in the beginning basically had the better line overall and is just pulling away right now. If you get stuck behind a car, it's very difficult to pass. More so if they have the same manufacturer as you, because that dirty air, the turbulent air, is just going to cost you at every corner. You can see that happening with Sachai right here in second place. He's not able to find the right draft through the section. Let's see if he gains anything. The gap is at 1.3 seconds right now. He's only got a couple of laps left. In fact, he's only got one lap left. They're about to start their final lap, lap number 6, when they cross the line. Let's see if that gap goes down. It's going to be a Porsche battle all the way to the end. Porsche's all the way up till the podium. Uh, I don't know if that looked like he got a bad exit over there. It seemed also almost as though he's just frozen in place.
Yeah, somewhere down the line, I kind of feel that maybe. Uh, He responded little late on the starting line to even mount that challenge for the top one. But as we're talking about, hey, there's a moving up. Yunapslin has moved up to position number 5 from number 6. Toei drops down to number 6 at this point of time. So Dominic now coming under a little bit of pressure. There could be a very close in fight for the third and the fourth. Hey, the gap is just about half a tenth. We
Yep.
really are on for a top three finish. Of course, it's going to be a four-way fight maybe for the third. Maybe we should look at Leonardo at this point of time and see how is he defending.
Yep. I think another battle we need to keep an eye out for is Samuel Cheng, who's in P9. Remember, the top eight are reversed. So whoever gets eighth place in this race has pole position for the next one. So everyone will want to be either in eighth or seventh place at the time being. If you are in eighth place, you probably just want to hold that position. So Samuel Chang really has to somehow find his way past about 3 tenths between him and the car right up ahead. This is a battle for third place all the way out in front. But of course, all these drivers are going to find themselves somewhere near mid pack at the start of the next race. The BMW is holding out strong. And you know what? Now that I notice it, looks like we lost a Porsche in that entire battle. There were three Porsches out in front. One of them have gone away. It looks like the P3 Porsche has dropped down. I believe that must be the Porsche of Daryl Brady over there down in 12th place.
Interesting thing that you talked about. So that means if a Porsche has gone in, there's a two BMW that's Samuel versus Avila you were talking about are fighting for the eighth and the ninth position respectively. So Leonardo is the new number three at the moment. Dominic would like to snatch that position. Possibly may not be in the live. We'll wait and see. 1.5 minutes to go. How is it going to play around? As hey, there is also a battle at the end. Aman is now sort of consolidated at number 14. Mohammad Zihini is chasing him down for the fight for the 15. And Pereira is at number 16, all the way around joining us from Sri Lanka. Oliver at this point of time at number 17. Well, there is a battle in ahead, and there's also a battle in the middle and right at the back.
Yep, looks like a lot of grid shuffles. You just see over there multiple changes happening. I think Siddharth's
I
made a
am
place. Siddharth's gone up to ninth. What happened to Avila Bahar? Has he lost out big time? Avila Bahar's dropped down to 12th place. So he's not even going to be in the top eight reverse grid. He's going to be starting in 12th at this point. That is not what you want to see for a driver who's been holding eighth strong for the entire race. But that's the way it ends. I think we'll like to have a replay of that maybe in this little break between these two races just to see what happened to Avila Bahar in that whole fiasco at the end.
I think Avila Bahar somewhere down the line, just after turn number 12, was that lost a little traction. I That's the last I saw. But after that, I'm not really sure. But then she, Avila dropped like 9 pins. I mean, not. I mean, positions of how many positions are you talking about? 4 positions already. Number
Yep.
8 to number 12.
Four positions in the span of like 2 seconds or something. So there must have been some serious brake lockup. He didn't quite lose as many places as you would if you spin out. So I think he might have just outbraked himself. Given how tight the battle was in that mid pack from about P6 all the way to P10, it's understandable that he lost all of those in a snap of a finger.
So
Um,
must be from the campus corner from 13, 14 onwards. Somewhere there we possibly missed that. Okay, that's what it is at this point in time. We have a P1 right away on top of it. And now, so Samuel Chiang somehow will start on P1. Reverse grade is not somebody's piece of cake. But then if you won the sprint and you look back saying, ouch, I got to start at P8, it kind of hurts. But that's what makes it interesting.
For sure, I think it's going to be very interesting to see the two fastest drivers on the grid having now battle their way out of P8 and P7 by the looks of it. Another driver who just missed out. So Siddharth did gain a few positions, but he's in ninth place. It's painful to see that he'd be really kicking himself for not making another position. He would have been in pole position. It was just a matter of 1.5 seconds to get to that position. But I mean,
Uh,
he still has a good start. He has a good place. If he takes the inside line, then he has an advantage in the next race. Let's see what happens.
Aman Nagdev from 14 moved up to number 13 on the finishing grid, so which is good for him. Uh, Quite a big bag. As we're looking at the number of cars, so we have Dominic will start at number 4, Yuan Ling will start at number 5, Mika Akini will start at number 7, Samuel Chang at number 8. A pretty tight grid there.
Interesting. Yep, yep. Lot to play for. A lot coming up. We'll just take a quick 4 to 5 minute break and we'll be back with you all shortly. Thank you so much for sticking around with us. We've got a 40-minute feature race coming up next. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back for the feature race. It's only a 40-minute race, and Solomon, this is going to be super exciting because there is a caveat here. These drivers are only allowed to run 50% of their fuel for the beginning, which is roughly around 60 liters, nowhere near enough to run 40 minutes worth of racing. So let's see what the strategies are going to turn out to be.
You know what, Sai? I will tell you two things. The reason that we have two of us here today is because we know it was a 40 minutes race. So you and I need to really maybe fuel up a little bit later, but we'll talk about the fueling up of all these folks who are going to do it. So, according to you, is there any chance that somebody's going to run out of fuel and they may possibly have to push their car around the track?
Well, running out of fuel is a rookie error. Not unheard of in professional competitions, but I think these drivers know that they don't have enough fuel. So it could be a fuel conserving game. It could be a pit stop. I know for a fact the Mercedes chugs a lot of fuel. Could be the same for the BMW. So these high performance cars, very fast, powerful engined cars, so to speak, definitely won't have enough fuel. That's what Siddharth and Aman have with them, with the BMW and Mercedes respectively. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I think the Porsche and the Ferrari might have a chance of running on engine map 3, which is generally a leaner engine map for these races. But 3 laps is a lot of fuel to gain back. I don't see anybody doing a fuel conserving game over here. It's better to go all out. Speaking of going all out, everyone's gearing up. There's getting down with the rolling start, and it's already underway. We see a Porsche already making a move. That red Porsche is trying to make a move and get past the Lamborghini. That is, I believe, the Porsche, the winning Porsche from the previous race as well, right behind the Lamborghini. So it looks like P7 and P8, the top two drivers from the previous race, have already gotten a good jump and are trying to get past the BMW. Sorry, the Lamborghini right ahead. Smartly tucks in behind the Lamborghini. You don't want to take any risks with 40 minutes of racing coming up as they round off the top of the hill.
Right, and as you came down to the Mercedes, we were talking about how the Porsche is able to stay stable right now, and the BMW would like to take an advantage here. Okay, Mika moves up to position number one already. One of the tries to cast make move up very, very quick on the inside, and the tries to dive in onto the bank onto the corner, but doesn't even able to come out well. One of the
Oh
cars is
no,
also off the
that is
track.
Samuel Chang. Sorry to interrupt, but that Samuel Chang, he had pole position and now he's spun on top of the hill. Oh no,
Uh,
he's plummeting down the order.
Not one, but he's losing about 8 to 10 positions already. So then
He's
there is going to be a major chug at the entire table board as well. Oh, he decides to go farming here. Let's move along to that. Car number 25. Samuel, you're not going to be and right ahead of him. Maybe he possibly got to the break a little bit earlier. Can we have a look? Okay, almost losing traction there again. Uh,
So
are
that
we
is
going to
another
be?
replay of what happened in this in the beginning. Both drivers teleporting back to the pits. I don't know if that's because of damage or they just want to go back to the pits because they don't want to continue on this. I hope it must be because of damage. I don't think anyone's going to be rage quitting quite this early in the race. This is another contact that happened. Siddharth got tapped by a Porsche on exit. We need to relook at that and see what happened exactly. But Siddharth's also lost a lot of positions. I think he's also teleported back to the pits. I'm just gonna
Well,
wait for
it's not.
live. Yeah,
Not one, but I think we've already seen three incidents there. Two cars going off the track again, and then Siddharth having that incident right here, and that's
yeah,
about it right now.
yeah. That is
Luckily,
him, by the way, the winner of the previous race. So a lot of
luckily,
chaos.
we didn't see a lot of those cars almost touching each other. Yellows have been shown very quickly, so no overtaking allowed. Let's take a quick deep breath. And when the yellows are quickly taken out, it's not Mika. Okay, Mika Hack is just dropping down. So we have a new number one. Okay, we are playing Rumble here, right? It's This is going to be coming down like very, very proper game as well. Uh,
I'll
somebody's
tell
got to
you
roll the
what.
dice.
I'll tell you what, those who teleported back to the pits are losing a lot of time. If they had just stuck to this train, they would be at the back of the safety car train. They would have just pitted and wouldn't have lost out much. So now I think everyone who's teleported is already a lap down. You see, all the way from P19 onwards is a lap down. I think there was something like 25 to 30 cars in this race. So this has gone terribly wrong for all the people who crashed out. Someone's gotten into the pits. It looks like Mika Hakimi went down the pit lane. I'll tell you one thing though. What's happened now is everybody's able to conserve their fuel depending on how long the safety car period is going to last. We might see none of these top runners pitting for the rest of the race.
Uh, the quick yellow flag will stay for maybe another lap. Uh, all of a sudden, we just see the leaders changing by the corners there. Uh, all of a sudden, we were looking down at the time. Okay, now it's come back. Now we've really got the right list right now. Ika Hakimi right now is the race leader. Iwaki Toy is about it's take. Okay, so the yellow flags will be taken out very, very quickly. The smarter thing is to conserve your fuel now. Don't do
Yep.
anything unnecessary at this point of time.
See the safety car just pacing around. Looks almost like a maybe a Porsche GT4. I don't know. Difficult to say, but there's not much going on right now. So just let's just maybe look at all these liveries and just enjoy these cars going single file, weaving about, of course, to keep their tire temperatures up, but also being wary of all that fuel being burned right under the hoods of their cars. Um, Yeah, yeah. It's a quiet phase for the race, a little bit of a break for everybody. Looks like.
I was just looking at Mika's car. It's a BMW again. This is the whether well, we're all back to racing right now. But the moment the speed has just been picked up, or have I not? Not yet. Oh, come on, come on. Can we please bring the
Not
red flag?
quite there yet. I think it will only happen at the end of this lap. The safety car needs to go
Come
somewhere.
on,
Otherwise, the safety car will probably
safety car.
have
Can
to
you go and
veer
find your
off and
safety,
call
please?
another safety car.
Uh, we don't have a situation where the safety car has to be towed away, isn't it? So, Parivati Toy right now will stay at number two. Uh, I'm just wondering, so it's now a BMW leading the pack, leading the race.
Yep. I think at this point, the one driver who's managed to still hold a decent position is the Thai driver of Sachai, who was there. Let's just wait for the timing screen to do it, really dance and shuffle. It's really difficult to say who's doing what right now. But as I was saying, I think Sachai, the Thai driver, somewhere out there up in front, he did get a good points haul, I think of about 95 points, with second place in the previous race. So he could potentially win this entire championship if he holds his ground because his stock contenders all the way back at the tail end of the field.
I was initially talking about racers who were on the track, like Brian Pereira, for example. By the way, celebrated his birthday a couple of days back as well. Uh, he was the from the BMW racing driver when BMW series was happening in India, and he also won the National Formula Championship in Sri Lanka way back in 2014. Youngest Formula EFA winner in Sri Lanka. So then, as I said, there are a lot of folks who have done sim racing as well as on-track racing. Brian Pereira, name racing by Jasuria Pereira.
Yep,
Belated
excellent.
birthday, belated birthday boy. Now, can he make it like a birthday gift if he's able to drive it well here?
Well, it's all in his hands right now, unless someone taps him out. Uh, if I'm not
Straight.
mistaken, we will be going on. We will be getting under green flag conditions shortly. Just got to look at the safety car and see if its lights have the blinking lights have switched off. No, they're still on. Are we going to go for another lap? If we go for another lap, I'll tell you it's going to be a very exciting end to the race because none of these drivers are pitting. I think they all have the same idea of staying out as long as they can. Now, there are 18 laps left on the board, but these cars can only run about 16 to 17 laps under racing conditions. They're not quite burning zero fuel. They are burning some fuel in all this. You see someone diving into the pits, most of them staying out. Um, I don't know. I think they're making a mistake by staying out right now, but that's just my personal opinion. Everybody watching in the chat, let us know what you think about these decisions these drivers are making. Very few of them are going in the pits. Everyone else is staying out. What do you think of their decisions right now?
Now, if I was in position number 12, like Daryl Brady or somebody, and if I possibly thought that, okay, if I dive into the pits, the others will anyway have to come into the pit lane one of these times. It is a risk taking at the moment, but then I agree with you. I would possibly stay out. But
Yeah.
then, if there is another safety incident on the track, the guys who pitted earlier will possibly say, now who's talking right now?
Yeah, not to mention the complete opposite of what you said could also happen. Remember in the Hungarian GP, Hamilton stayed out, everyone else dived into the pits to change their tires. So when you're out there in first place, you're basically a sitting duck. If you make a strategy choice, everyone will copy you. If you stay out, you could be just left hanging at the end of the day. Um, yeah, tricky position. Aman Nagdev all the way up in sixth place. Let's see if he can grab a few extra points now, because it looks like the other Indian driver, Siddharth Medratha, is way down at the back of the pack. It's like the flip side of what happened in the previous race, where Aman had to make up a lot of ground and Siddharth had the upper hand. There you see
Then,
him on screen.
yep, I was just looking down as the cars are weaving, trying to get a little bit of temperature in the track, but then, and also trying to get a little bit of temperature, get their cars. But you would not see a Porsche need to. There's no need for a Porsche to do that. Stable, right to the center, but then you'll always find it wanting when it comes to the straight line there. Maybe it's time for us to possibly get a little on board with one of these cars and see how does it what's the really the speed ahead in front of them. There you go. You want to speed, but you want to control it back a little bit.
This is quite disappointingly slow, at least for the drivers. They'll be waiting to get back under green flag conditions. Like, this is probably really boring for them. I think the only thing that's on their minds right now is to burn as little fuel as possible. I'm quite sure that these GT3 cars have a fuel map. I think it's probably fuel map 12 or 13, depending on the car. It is a safety car fuel map where it burns almost little to no fuel, at least relative to the faster map. So that's probably what everybody's on right now. We see Mika Hakimi not really quite eager on not burning fuel. He's just kind of speeding up, trying to get up to the safety car. It's not going to do him any favors if he burns extra fuel now. Let's see what he
It's as
does.
if he was trying to overtake the safety car on the inside. Then he realized, oh, okay, we're not racing yet. That
Yeah.
was, I think the rule book clearly says that you at least have need to have one car length or two car lengths uh, when you're talking about Formula One. But then this is sim racing. This is Mika Hakkinen. We initially saw on board with Daryl Brady, who is also the founder of sim racing in Philippines. And now Mika is just going to bide his time. He's just waiting for that yellow to completely go off, and then we look down in. So what? As the guys are on the track, I thought just quickly we may not have the entire grid at the moment. And let me just quickly run through the names very quickly. Mika Hakimi from Malaysia, Junai Chai from China, Thomas E. Hetari from Reunion Island, Longwin Home from Vietnam. Sri Lanka has Jayasuriya Pereira, which is also Brian Pereira, Samuel Chang from Macau, Renal Ido from Indonesia, Parivat Chukan from Thailand, Sachi also from Thailand, Del Lee Ifo from Hong Kong, Fred Ting from Brunei, Nicholas Finet from Hong Kong, Avila Bahar having quite a disappointing day so far from Indonesia, Leonardo from Macau, Mohammad Zihini from Singapore, Michelle Hui from Singapore as well, Joe Hook also from Korea. We've also forgot to mention Haitham all the way down from Egypt. Further down the order, Daryl Brady from Philippines as well. Next set of cars, just moments away that we're going to see possibly the yellows on the safety car go off.
And I think they are off, if I'm not mistaken. I think the little
On the
GT4 up front has had enough. It wants to go back to the pits. And it looks like they are off. So I think we are getting ready for green flag. But it's another painfully long, slow lap away from that. Um, yeah, let's just see what they do. I think everybody's just kind of coasting everywhere. Now, at the end of this lap, we are still going to have 16 laps of racing. These cars are only meant to be doing 15 to 16 laps on full tanks, and there has already been one whole lap of racing and all these three laps behind the safety car. So they're still going to be running on fumes by the end. Unless everyone stays in map 3. I think whoever gets a jump right now and whoever starts speeding away at the start is going to run out of fuel at the end.
quick question. We have a Leonardo who's driving a Lamborghini. Remember, he's a 2020 Sim Racer GT4 Series champion. I had a feeling when you were in top three, it was not a great idea to go to the pit lane. And now he's out. I don't even see him in the top 20.
You know what? I'm going to go off on a limb, go out on a limb here and say that he's going to be charging through this pack and picking people off one by one. The Lamborghini is a very, very good car, arguably one of the better cars around this track compared to all of these other cars. The Lamborghini very well balanced, a tad bit unpredictable at times, but it's going to be interesting to see him charge through the grid because he's going to be one of the few drivers who have a lot of fuel to burn at their expense. So let's just wait and see. I think, yeah, you don't see them on camera simply because of how far behind they are. They're going to be a good 2-3 corners behind under racing conditions, but either way, I think that's something we're going to be looking out for. I'd really love to see the cars that have pitted, fight their way through the order. Everyone at the tail end who hasn't pitted is basically completely out of contention at this point, by the looks of it.
So somebody's got to roll the dice. Somebody's got to roll the fingers out here and see who's going to come around it. So Leonardo is right now into the pit lane, joins the pack. Where is he going to join? Mika Hakimi will be your race leader. Now Mika would think in twice. Should I have pitted and maybe come back in with this number of now? If the safety car stays for another lap, if I was Mika, I'd possibly pit so that I get a little more fuel in my car here.
I don't know. I think it was a misjudgment to stay out. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong for the sake of all these drivers that have stayed out. Uh, I think personally, anyone who is at the back of the grid had nothing to lose and had to quit, but I didn't see a lot of them do that. And this is definitely going to play into the championship and definitely the end of the race for sure. The championship already seems to have gone away for some of the drivers who were leading, especially Im Jehok Im, who was all the way out in front. Now somewhere from last probably. Only advantage, he would have pitted. He has the fuel to fight back. He has the pace. We've seen in quali a good second faster than some of these drivers. I think it's anyone's game at this point. Hakimi really has to play his cards right. As you see everyone filing up, everyone is now slowing down into double file as we prepare for the race start.
I was reading some interesting comments. This is pretty interesting down here. Driving a Porsche on the track, Sachai Nakutin, all the way down from Thailand. He says he's into sim racing because he's too broke to race in the real world.
I'll tell you, Sacha, if you get out there and you win this championship, you get an amazing sim rig. I think that's going to be super, super useful to get that simulation up to speed as well. I think the immersion level just triples with that, especially if you have a triple screen monitor. But that's another setup to look at. But right now, I think Sacha has one of the best chances to win this championship. I think everybody's gotten underway now. You see Hakimi already pushing. He's on the outside and he's already going to lose that position. Or is he? The Ferrari has lost a bit through that curve, and it looks like Hakimi has gotten underway. But remember, everyone who starts pushing right now is going to start burning through that fuel. You don't have reserve fuel in these cars. The Mercedes making a move. Looks like that's the Mercedes of Lynn that made that move. Yeah, the blue Mercedes has gotten ahead of the Ferrari. And yep, and more contact. Is that going to be another safety car? I doubt it. But there is
Uh,
someone spinning off over there.
There's not one, but there were two of them who came into contact again. Mercedes versus Ferrari. How many times are we going to see that same story unfold at a point of time? Ferrari lining up the Mercedes for an overtaking maneuver. Now that is going to be a show short retirement and off from the screen at the moment of time. Let's look at the front again. Mika has it under control. The Ferrari now takes it to number two in the chances for losing the number third position as well. Sacha now moves up to position number four. Can the Porsche move up to position number three? It looks like a possibility. Amarnath still waiting like a sniper. He has an outside chance. He's got to wait for the others just to settle a little bit. Car number 30 on your screens at the moment. Toa Lin making short, not to make too many mistakes at this point of time. Mercedes under all sorts of pressure. It's all happening here.
Yep, the Porsche goes a bit wide. Gets a good exit. He's right at the tail of that Mercedes, but he knows he has to get past before the straight start because that's why the Mercedes will start pulling away. Brilliant livery, by the way, for that Porsche. That looks stunning in this the glittering of the Porsche in the sunlight. He makes a move on the inside. That's another glamorous move. Are we going to see it? No, no. Looks like the Mercedes broke a lot later and managed to hold the position. I think something's going to happen at the end of the bus stop chicane if the Porsche gets a good run. Looks like he's already on the tail end, right on the gearbox of the Mercedes up ahead, going up to Paul Freres. He gets down on that straight. Beautifully done over there. I don't think he's lost any time to the Mercedes in that.
I think he defended well, but now this is the time where he possibly needs to look at a straight to come down in. The bus stop corner is going to be one place where he's possibly get as close as possible. I'm surprised he was not able to use a little bit of a toe from the car ahead of him. What a battle that we're having. May we have an onboard view of car number four, such I. This is going to be very interesting because on Rouge it's going to be very, very interesting. Okay, the Mercedes under coming under a lot of pressure. Here we go again. Can he dive in on the inside? No, he's got to take the white line. He takes the white line, gets himself in position to get exit. Can he
Oh,
accelerate out of the
Porsche's got to
cannon?
run. Porsche's got to run. Looks like Sachai has missed out on the exit, but you just see that. You see the power the Mercedes has. That is the advantage of having that Mercedes engine right in front. It's a German manufacturer versus another German manufacturer, both top of the class cars.
You live to fight another day. Can he do it one more time again as we get down to the Camel Straight? This time around, no, on the straight he's not. Mercy is going to be really strong as well. He's got to get and close that corner very quickly. The corner comes ahead. He's done it.
There
He's
we
done it
go.
this time around.
Threw him the dummy, took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. The Porsche has gotten ahead, but not for long. The Mercedes is fighting back. What a riveting battle we see on screen right now. And you see another Mercedes of Aman Nagdev waiting patiently to pick up any of the scraps of a potential accident. Let's hope nothing happens over here. The racing has been clean till now up front, at least after the safety car has restarted. That's the sort of view you want to see. It just shows the sheer speed of these cars through that section. Porsche is
I
holding
think
strong right now.
Amarnath Dev is trying to be very, very calculated. He wants to be close, but not too close enough because he knows these guys are going to burn a lot of fuel. And still, we got about a little over 20 minutes to go. He possibly fancies a chance to still move up to number four. But question: has Amarnath Dev not pitted earlier? Does he still have enough fuel? Avila, oh, hey, by the way, Avila all of a sudden is moving up to position number 10. Remember, coming
Yep.
through the pit lane. And so then this could also turn into an advantage. Now the fight is still getting very, very close as well. Let's talk about Fan Dog right now, position number 6. Now, Avila Bahar now in position number 10. Completely sandwiched with multiple cars ahead of each of those corners there.
Again, like I told before, one of the cars I'm looking out for, the cars that pitted early, Siddharth Medrata, a car that definitely. Oh no, and there's a spinner over there. Who was that? That looks like. Was that Fan Dog who spun?
I thought it was
So,
Tommy early. He
Tommy
spun from,
High,
okay,
Tommy Mai,
Tommy
sorry.
my.
Yep,
Tommy
so
my
that was
first
a
spun that.
Lamborghini that went spinning. There we go.
Uh,
Yeah,
nice.
hard in the wall. See,
Looks nice when you spin, but Tommy, forgive me, but then he possibly got into maybe the accelerator, didn't even time that corner that well. Uh, this is where it comes to it. And that's why we were talking about Porsche versus BMW, and we were a little surprised when most of them went and said, "Hey, I want to drive the BMW," and more straight line, more raw speed on the straights. That's exactly they wanted to settle it. Porsche, more stability on the corner. So that debate will continue. And as we see, Mika still the race leader at the moment.
it's literally BMWs and Porsches all around, with some McLarens and Lamborghinis speckled in the middle, but it mostly seems like a BMW fight right now. Another very interesting livery, classic Mercedes with bluing. That looks beautiful as well in the sunlight. But the driver behind the wheel is definitely hoping to get past. That is Oliver Aquino, who is trying to get his way past Jesuya right in front. So he's got three BMWs to get past before he can get into the fray of that top fight, the top seven over there. It's holding quite strong right now. So I've lost track of who's pitted and who hasn't, but I know for a fact that Siddharth, Samuel Cheng at the back, all of them have pitted and have saved quite a lot of fuel in the process. So they have the fuel to burn right now. It's just about when they choose to burn it. Maybe just wait for people to start backing off. You don't want to get stuck in traffic early on in this battle.
Okay, I'm looking at the top 20 cars. Only Dominic has pitted once. And now he almost missed the battle up front. Mika is now all of a sudden has slowed down a little bit than his compatriot. He's got about just 3/10 of a second lead ahead of him. As we're looking at Sachai, at this point in time, I do believe that's quite a bit of a distance. But then Aman Nagdev, can he pull in a little bit of surprise? It looks like he's conserving his fuel, possibly waiting for car ahead of him to take the pit stop and then try get ahead. There's a lot of maths going to be involved today. Got to go back to
100%. Looks
plan.
like he is conserving. He's dropped about 2 seconds behind the competition up ahead. I'm quite surprised that a lot of these drivers haven't pitted. I would have guessed that the drivers who teleported after the initial accident on top of the hill would have directly teleported to the pits and just got their damage fixed and their fuel refilled. So I don't see why they haven't done that. Um, but either way, okay, it's an interesting decision again. My opinion is still that whoever is pitted is going to be the biggest winner in this whole battle. I think one of those drivers, like you said, Dominic Ang, let's have a look out, see what he's done. He's already managed to pick off a few more cars. He's up at P16 right now, 20 seconds away from the leader, but we've got 12 laps of racing left.
Fred in his Mercedes.
Oh, oh, did you see that? And BMW completely clobbered into the wall over there. That looks serious. I'd love to see what happened over there completely.
Was that Fred? Was that Fred? They were on his BMW. We'll check that out for you in just a bit. But the fact of the matter is, the BMW is hogging the limelight, starting right from when they were into the battle of every corner, every turn. But we were just talking about it earlier. Mika Hakimi drops down from the leaderboard. It's the new race leader. Chui moves up to position number one. 4/10 lead. Wow, what a battle that we're having. Three cars too close to each other. Nothing much to choose. Somehow somebody will have to blink at this point of time. As one of the cars, the Ferrari, still tries to hold back for a little bit of time. They are coming into that corner again. It's going to be a tight left-hander. They're coming down to a very quick sweeper there. This is going to be a very, very difficult task down there before they get down to the biggest of the blank point. This is going to be very interesting.
Excellent, excellent battle. Ferrari versus BMW versus Porsche versus Mercedes power. Let's see who comes out on top at the end of this
Four
straight. We
different
go
car
up through
manufacturers. Yep,
Blanchimont.
absolutely. Four different car manufacturers fighting onto the black spot at this point of time. They turn in. How is it going to come down? Which
That
of these cars?
BMW,
Oh,
that
you think it's going to be
BMW
the
has the
BMW?
grip over there. It doesn't have as much grip as the Porsche behind. Oh, this is exciting. Porsche takes a wider line. Okay, BMW gets ahead of the Ferrari. Ferrari has the inside line, and then the BMW has a switchback. The Porsche says, "No, sir, you do not. I want to take the switchback." He's got the outside, and it looks like the Mercedes Aman Nagdev has again backed off. I think he is playing the safe game, like you had said. He's just trying to conserve fuel in all these tricky sections. Um, but again, he has the inside line, a bit of oversteer over there. Yep, I think his tires are also starting to give way right now.
I was just wondering, I mean, when USFI, looking at his car, looking at the moves that he was making on that Porsche, I was just wondering that why did he not possibly defend a little more stronger there? Now, all of a sudden, I see Aman Nagdev getting a little aggressive. He's brought down in four corners the lead to just about the gap between him and him up to about less than 2/10. So then he really wants to see, get on with it.
Ooh, there's some
Ah, two
contact.
cars
Nope. Hakimi is off, and that's the
means
Porsche.
Aman
Sachai
Nagdev
as well is off. Oh,
Aman
this
Nagdev up to four. That's what matters right now at the point of time for Aman Nagdev. So Chui at this point of time was off. Has he joined back?
Yeah, Sachai has joined back in that red Porsche, but he's in fourth place. Aman is all the way up to podium spot, the podium spot right now in P3. Let's have a look at that again. So the Porsche inside Hakimi, a bit of contact, some side rubbing over there, some bits of carbon fiber flying all over the place. Didn't seem to end well for either driver. At least the good part about that BMW is it can take such impacts without so much as a breeze.
Well, impact, yes, because even after that impact, he still joins back at number five and not losing much of it. Now he's just got to make his way, just consolidate there. Now Aman Nagdev was waiting like a sniper, trying to make sure he knew that there was possibly going to be a mistake ahead of him. He said, "Thank you very much. I will take the third." Now, the gap between him is just about 1 second between third and the fourth. You just got to hold on. You just
So
got to hold
this
on for it.
this is the move that got Aman Nagdev P3 right now on the leaderboards. He took the inside line at Brussels, so I suspect that Porsche does have a bit of damage. He did seem to understeer quite a bit out of Brussels. What's happening over here later down in the back? Three BMWs, all looking very similar, all fighting it out over here. Interesting lines. At this point, you're basically stuck, especially with cars this big. You're stuck in your line throughout the entire corner. And looks like Fandog managed to get ahead of the rest of the pack. Avila Bahar and Reynaldi Ido right behind him.
I was just looking at Fan Dog taking that corner, and I was wondering, I mean, in trying to defend that corner from Avila, he could have just kept it the way it is and then possibly look to take some speed on the track because one thing is really damaging his tires here. He's got to be a little watchful there. I was also looking at Rinaldi at this point of time. What is the fuel consumption? We still don't know. But the gap between the top two has almost come to 8/10 of a second. So then Parivatoi has the race almost in the gap and he's just got about 12 minutes to hang on there.
Interesting. I'm looking through the order, and Dominic Ang has again made up three more spots in the span of the last three laps. At this rate, he's going to get up all the way up to P6 by the end of this race, and this is where you start seeing people, playing into the strategy. So we do have around 12 minutes on the clock. Um, I don't think we're going to be finishing 20 laps in this race. So we just have about 12 minutes left. It's a bit of contact again in Brussels. That's Dominic Ang again having a collision over there. So it's costed him another spot. Samuel Chang right in front. If Chang if he has not actually pitted in this race, then he will be suffering from the damage earlier on in the first lap. So this is what happened. A little bit of a bump over here. You don't want to be going three wide into this corner. Least of all four wide, which is what could have been. But yeah, that's
So
very unfortunate.
that did look nasty. So have I got this right? So it's a Ferrari which is now leading the race.
Yeah.
It's a Ferrari which is leading the race, and we are also looking at a Mercedes which is at number two, which was an unlikely result that we didn't expect because we expected something like a Porsche or one of the BMWs to take him. Aman Nagdev, of course, on his Mercedes again, so it's one Ferrari, two Mercedes, three Mercedes as well. The BMWs have a lot of catching up to do.
Speaking of BMWs, I think that replay showed Siddharth losing connection. So I think he's out of this race. He disconnected. Uh, it's again unfortunate. Looks like a network error. He just disappeared from the screen. The replay usually only pops up when there's a crash, so that definitely did get registered on the server. Um, but at least there are a lot of other BMWs fighting it out in the back. Dominic and another driver have just been looking out for any driver that's pitted earlier to start hunting down the fuel conservers in front. Doesn't look like these BMWs are conserving any fuel. They're going all out, all the way up in front. Fan Dog happy with the position that he got. He's in P6, and he's now hunting down the potential championship leader, Sachai, right in front.
So Chai, at this point of time, has to hold on. Remember that the contact that he had with Mika. Would like to repeat that and just play that back in his mind and say, okay, you had a contact earlier. Now let's make it very clean. Now Aman Nagadev has played a very smart race, but then challenge is mounting because the gap that was about 1 second is come down to 4/10 of a second between him and Mika. Mika is catching up for sure.
He certainly is. Mika had an unfortunate incident in the beginning, but both Mika and Sacha have managed to claw their way back. And now Aman Nagdev is under pressure. It's Mercedes versus BMW power over here with the Porsche looming there in the background. Mercedes certainly stronger in the section than the BMW, but it just looks like Aman has been fishtailing all over the place for the past few laps. His tires have started giving way. He might be having way too stiff of a setup in the rear of the car because it's just shredding his tires. He needs to get a good exit out of here if he wants to defend in the bus stop chicane. You see the BMW slowly closing in. So Hakimi is gaining around a couple hundredths of a second every few 100 meters. Looks like he's catching up right now. He's right behind the Mercedes. Let's see if he makes a move. He cannot do it at Blanchimont, but he does have to time the move and position his car appropriately for the bus stop chicane. Takes the outside. Aman defending on the inside, but now the BMW will have the inside line through this corner. There you go. That's how you make a move. Stick through bus stop temporarily. Aman Nagdev has the switch back, but doesn't quite have enough speed to take that position back.
This was always coming again. Mika really showing his experience there. Aman Nagdev knew that was the best chance that he could do. You were right. He possibly didn't have much of a control, especially on the tighter corners as well. Just moving into turn number 17 back on corner, and even somewhere around 13, 14, 15, it just started that he's under a lot of pressure again. So then, can he take his position back again? He's showing the intent, but can he really take it back again?
He's got a good run up onto the top of the hill down Camel Straight. He's forced to take the outside line. There is going to be a bit of a bump and run here. I don't know if there's any contact. There didn't seem to be any contact. Then Mercedes is a bullet down the straight line, even in comparison to the BMW. The BMW started to fight back, so Hakimi does not want to let go of that position. I think with just about 7 minutes on the clock, 6.5 minutes on the clock, everyone wants that final position because it looks like the top two are way out in front. You see P2 just half a second behind P1. Parivatoi leading the pack in his Ferrari. That gap has gone down to 2 tenths right now. I'd love to see what's happening all the way out there as well.
Jason Lee, Oliver, and Fan Dog Suchi are all of them not even in the frame here. So Aman Nagdev will be looking back and saying, hey, can somebody get closer to the guy who's chasing me here? Because this is going to play out one more time again. Remember, we just got about little over 6 minutes. Let's say under 6 minutes at this point of time. It's hammer time. And Aman Nagdev needs to defend. Uh, One challenge here is that Mika is really very good in taking the toe from the car ahead of him. And one more time, he's trying to take the toe. I think
Yep.
the way the BMW really comes around is that he's able to just use that toe and put that little bit of pressure there as well. Amarnath Dev is all over the track. They're trying to still defend. Cars, two cars
Oh
side by
wow,
side.
too wide
This
to
is beautiful.
Blanchard.
This is beautiful. This is
Both
beautiful.
going wide, and it looks like the BMW gets a bit of a moment. They're both going to get off track points for that. Remember, if you get enough number of points, you will get a drive through penalty in this game. Not quite sure what the specific number is. As Aman Nagdev goes into the pit, so he needs to pit for fuel. Is this a game changing move? He's gone down the pit lane. This is quite late to pit. Spa has a very long pit lane, so if you want to pit, you're going to have to do it quite early. Let's see what he's trying to do. Does he have something on his sleeve? Has he predicted something that these drivers haven't foreseen yet?
Amarnath, they're dropping down 7, 8, 9, and oh, he's dropping down like 9 pins. I thought he should have pitted earlier. I mean, when he jumped into number three as well.
Could
Uh,
be the
Pari-
tires. Could be the tires. He's been struggling for grip the past few laps.
so Pariva Toi is also. Do we have? Yes, we have a new race leader. We. The grid is changing crazy. Okay, oh, that was a dummy now. So Pariva Toi is not is still the race leader. It is not Suchiya.
Yeah, I
So
think
we still
that
looking at.
timing screen is a pesky little fellow, isn't it? Just gotta
Yeah.
wait for it to shuffle a bit as the car starts shuffling around on track as well. This is where you're gonna see a lot of switchbacks, cutbacks, defensive moves, and very good racing coming up. You see everyone just going tight, going just holding off good exits. You don't want to go too wide. You want to plummet into the wall or get off track points. Dominic Ang, like I had said, is now gaining spots because he pitted earlier. He's all the way up in P9. Let's see what happens. These two haven't pitted yet, and if they start running on fumes, everyone's going to start eating up that gap. The Ferrari getting a bit tail happy through that section with the
You can
Mercedes right
actually
behind.
you can actually see them just hitting the car on those corner where the guy who's chasing it doesn't want to see it. Now that's very good defending. The Ferraris versus the Mercedes, the fight still goes around at this point of time. I was just thinking, where is Amarnath? Where is Abba at this point of time? Okay, Amarnath Dev is now at position number 16. Can he gain up some positions with less than 4 minutes to go? Not too sure at the moment.
Honestly, he's at risk of getting lapped at this point, potentially, if these guys keep up their pace. Neither of them are going down the pits. I don't know what they're thinking. There are 3 minutes left, so it's going to be two more laps of racing when they start the penultimate lap right now. So I think these two drivers have it in the bag because everyone behind them, at least close enough to catch them, none of them have pitted. I think the closest driver who has already pitted is Dominic Hann, who I think is too far back to make any positions at this point. Just two laps left.
So Mika moves into position number three. Suchai moves into position number four. Pandog at number five. Now these two guys are giving everything that they have. They say, "Come on, it's hammer time. Bring the hammer out. Let's show how it is done." Will the Mercedes be able to come on the outside? Yes, it does. But who's going to get to the corner? Corner is going to come onto their right, and it's not onto the left. Somebody's going to run out of the road again. It's going to be tight as they go into the corner. This is beautiful again.
Oh,
Mercedes going to take it again. This is going to has a little more traction again, but somehow muscles the way into that corner. This is beautiful stuff. Tui doing everything possible to hold on to it. Now this is a fight between Mercedes versus the Ferrari. The Ferrari versus the Mercedes again. They will come down to the. Let's watch them as they will watch very closely. Is the bus stop corners possibly going to decide the fate of this race? As the Mercedes will not be able to accelerate as quickly as possible. He wants to be as close as possible to the leaders again. How is it going to play out again? We are 1 minute
beautiful
30 seconds
stuff.
again. This is why we love sim racing. It's to the edge of the seat again. Who do you fancy, Sai? Who do you fancy? The Mercedes or the Ferrari?
I think the Mercedes is going to snipe that position on the final chicane. It does have the straight line speeds, literally the blue arrow in this case, just flying down that Camel straight. You saw the speed. Very interesting, very clean driving by these two drivers. They've all went too wide through Leco. You rarely see that, especially in this phase of the race, where that is a very risky place to do it. I don't think he's going to take it this time because if he takes the position here, he's going to get taken again down into last. So he's going to lose that position at the first hairpin. So I think he's going to have to time this right for the final lap. He's also too far back at the moment. But as I say that, the Ferrari clips the grass a bit, gets a bit tail happy. The Mercedes can brake a lot later than that car because of its front engine configuration. Um, let's see what happens over here. So he stays out. He's got just one lap left. It's anyone's game over here. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be the Mercedes. What do you think, Solomon?
I think let me go with the Ferrari at this point of time for the old time reasons. But I just want to get the Chinese. The Unix Lin has just really buffed the race alive as they go down to the most happening corner of the Rouge as well, trying to stay as close as possible again. We are going down to this thing. He's got to clip the curb as quickly as possible, and he does. So the pressure has gone back again. He's
Oh, and
got
the
to.
Ferrari gets a bit tail happy again. He's lost a ton of speed. I think this is the Mercedes right now that's going to take this position. Certainly going to take it by the end of the straight, but then he's going to have to defend for the rest of the lap. Basically neck and
Side by
neck over
side.
here. He cuts across and he takes the inside line. Very smart move by the Mercedes driver. The Ferrari right behind is the Ferrari strength going through these sections. Is there going to be a move? Nope. The Ferrari knows he's going to have to back off this time by just a few corners left in this race. The Ferrari on the outside at Brussels. Does he fancy a maneuver? Yes, he does on the outside. What's it going to be? The Mercedes has the inside line, holds it off once again.
Wheel to wheel, it's on the edge stuff again. Now, they're going to run out of corners. They're going to run out of corners. Now, all of a sudden, we started rooting for Ferrari because we love to do that. It's all about making taking the fight to the finish again. At this point of time, the Chinese has held it well, and he's making sure he's not going to make any mistake. You're spot on when the Mercedes is going to take it, but can the Ferrari pull off a little bit of a fast line in the next two corners again?
No, he had to brake a little earlier. The Mercedes pressed the brakes a lot earlier than the Ferrari, and that's costed the Ferrari a bit of time. I think at this point, the Ferrari needs a miracle and some maybe 100 extra horsepower to catch up with that Mercedes. Yep, he goes wide on
Going
the
on the
gravel.
track.
That's about five
Yeah.
car lengths at this point.
He knows he's possibly losing this one, but now the Mercedes has almost done it well. He's really kept it on. So then, Yuan Lin, who has been sim racing for 4 years, the Chinese has really pulled in one of those master laps over his Ferrari rivals and over the BMW. Mika Hakimi will hold on to number 4 as we look at Aman Nagdev coming at number 14. It's only a matter of time. Another just we're counting down on the clock here.
Yep, and there you have it. Looks like the Mercedes driver in that blue Mercedes, Yongji Lin, has taken P1 for the feature race. 40 minutes of hardcore racing. So I turned out to be wrong. Everyone who did stay out managed to hold their positions. Hakimi coming in P3 with Sachai coming in P4. So I think by my calculations, Sachai might be the champion. But I'm going to have to just check the points table. We might not know quite just yet, but some drivers running out of fuel. That's a BMW running out of fuel at the line. Fandog loses 2 positions on the start finish line.
You know what? Maybe when the safety car was there for at least about 4 to 5 laps, it kind of played into the hands of the race winners here today. For two reasons. One, they didn't have to pit so much. Now they really know it's going to be more of a push to pass here. What a drive by the Chinese, and really well defended by Puri. But then it had to happen because with the kind of speed the Mercedes was carrying, it was only a matter of time.
Bunch of other drivers now finishing it off. We have 2 Frenchmen in 11th and 12th rounding off the top 12 with quite a significant gap of 7 seconds between P12 and P13. Um, yeah, I think everybody else is just sort of slowly finishing off the race. Aman Nagdev down in P15. Not quite sure what happened over there. I don't know if he had to pit for a penalty or he was running out of tire life. It's difficult to say at this point unless we have a word with him later on, maybe. But that's Aman Nagdev and his Mercedes having to settle for P15 after being P3 for most of the race. Rest of the drivers slowly coming by. Looks like P16, Oliver Aquino is the last driver to finish the race, who also coincidentally runs out of fuel, looks like. Either that or the TC just kicked in quite strongly at the end. But that is how the order stands at the end of 16 laps of racing.
What a time we've had with these folks, and they really put up a show at the ASRF. This is the Nations Cup for Asia. What a time, and they are going to be going happy, especially the winners, with the kind of prizes that we have for them.
Certainly, I think whoever gets those top three positions will be happy with their sim rigs. And one lucky driver amongst not just these drivers on the grid, but everyone who attempted the qualifiers, they all have a chance to also win a sim rig, a sim stand. But that's going to be a lucky draw, and we'll only know that later on. But this is how the order stands right now. Yangshi Ling taking P1, Parivat Toy right behind, the Thai driver right behind, Mika Hakimi managing to take P3, Sachai taking P4, potentially leading the championship right now. Kevin Huang in P5, Samuel Cheng in P6, the Macau driver, Dominic Ang fighting through after pitting early into P7, the Malaysian. We have Fan Dog in P8, Haitham Abdul Kadir, the Egyptian driver, coming in P10, and Jay Lon Lee taking P10 to wrap up the top 10 finishers of this race. So just standing by as we wait for the final finishing table to sort itself out. But meanwhile, those of you who are still with us in the chat, let us know what you think of this race. It's been super exciting till now. See a bunch of drivers here from P11 all the way down to P28. Um, Sadly, not finishing in the top level, top 10, especially everyone from P16 on P17 onwards, finishing one lap down with respect to the leaders. So,
I think
on that note, that's been very exciting feature race. What did you say, Solomon?
I mean the race really came out alive at the last time around, and now when you going to go back into sim racing, you're going to think, do I use the BMW or do I go into the Mercedes? And I would rather stick around and take a Mercedes on the track because that's where it's going to come down in.
Yep, it was certainly all based on the driver's choice for the car. There was no restriction, as far as I know, on which car to take for this race. But at the end of the day, it looks like the Mercedes, the BMWs, and even the Porsches ended up being very, very strong in this race. But on that note, thank you all so much for joining in this exciting series of races. We're not quite sure who the champion is. Stay tuned to social media to find out who it is that's finally topped the table and won these prizes, and also the bonus prize, the fourth prize, another sim rig. Just stay tuned. Follow us on social media. This has been the Nations Cup Finals with ASRF. My name is Sajid Ramesh. I had Solomon alongside for this entire experience. Feroz and Gaurav were in the race director's seat. And on screen, you see all the people who made it possible. Special thanks to all these individuals on screen who made it possible, the organizing team, the partners and supporters, everybody, and most importantly, all of you viewers for sticking with us for this exciting couple of races.